Hi, it's Trish again. Okay, it's been 30 minutes and there's no big changes in our dough. I did bring a little, okay, look, that's my headlamp that I used to go down and take care of stuff in the pasture at night, and I tried to tuck the camera into that on my head. Didn't work. But I tried. Okay, so I'm going to get my hand really wet um, and sprinkled a little bit accidentally on the bread. And um, this part's going to be hard. So I'm going to do the same stretch and fold that I did before, but I want you to look at, again, how much the dough has changed. And it's starting to feel really silky. So see how I can actually, we can make a really narrow membrane. It's not quite where we want it to be, but we're going to do another stretch and fold. Okay, got my hand wet again. Um, I'm getting a little bit of water in there. Do a little more water. And the more water that you use, the harder it is to make the dough behave. In the beginning, I did this. This is a pretty dry dough, which is good. It's good for people just starting, and it's good for me sometimes when I just don't feel like really working that hard at it. Okay, so on the back, I'm feeling some knots. I don't know if we can see them. See those right there? I can
Excuse
feel
me,
those.
there is a message for you.
And we want to kind of work those a little bit. So I'm just going to mix a little. I know I told you we weren't going to mix. We're not really. We're just kind of massaging the dough, right? Okay. This is hard because I only have one hand. Okay, but we can do this. We can do it. Okay, we can do it. There we go. Okay, so this is how, one of the ways that I stretch it. So, and then, did you see that? That was pretty cool. And then I'm going to go from this side too because we want all of the strands of gluten that are being created in there to stretch. Okay, so it's long and narrow, and I'm going to fold it over and over into a kind of a coil. And the dough just really got firm all of a sudden and resistant, like pulling on a rubber band too hard. So I'm going to be a little more gentle with it. Okay. This is where, adding water later can make it hard to control, like I did. Okay, so again, we're going to go back to the stretching and pulling. Pick it up, pull it out, squish it in. I'm pushing kind of hard. Squish it in. So I'm pulling it away because I want to stretch it. My fingers are way underneath. And pull it over and squish it down. And then pull it over, squish it again. Now it's arguing with me a little bit. It's getting really slippery in here. It's not wanting to stick, so I'm just going to keep being really gentle but firm. I want it to get all... oh, there we go. Okay. So it just changed again. It's really weird. Push that down. Bring this over. Bring this over. Oops. There we go. Okay. So... So now my fingers are underneath it again. I'm going to lift it up from the middle, like I did before. And then I'm going to kind of squish it back down on itself. You can start to see little bubbles. Those are more from the mixing than the fermentation so far. But that's okay. It's a start. We're getting there. Okay, look what happened right there. So when I pulled my thumb against it, do you see how it tore? That means it's not strong enough yet to be able to hold bubbles when it rises. So ideally, I'm just going to get my finger. This time I'm not trying to add water to it. I just want my fingertips wet so they're not sticking, so they're not tearing it. Okay, so we want to stretch it a little bit more then, because stretching it is what makes it strong. So if you think about bubble gum, when you first start chewing bubble gum, you can't make a bubble until you've chewed it and gotten it to the right consistency so it'll hold the bubble, right? The same thing we want to do with the bread. We want to make it strong enough by working with it to hold its bubbles when it starts to rise. Okay, so this end is a little bit floofy. See how that end is not satiny like this end is? Wait, there is it, like that. So I'm just going to work this side just a tiny bit more. I really, again, it's not really, you don't really have to. There. Okay. Now it's about perfect. Okay. We can leave it at this. We're going to leave it overnight. If I was doing this with two hands and I was just doing it for me and I felt more motivated, I would probably do it again in 30 minutes. And you can absolutely do it. Like doing it 3 times, 30 minutes apart is ideal. You do not have to do that. In fact, this is the last step that you need to take until morning. It's 10 o'clock right now. My kitchen's really cold, so I'm gonna let it rise. See, I don't like that's a tear, but that's okay. In the morning, it'll be better. I'm just gonna let it rise. I kind of want it in a shape. I wish you could feel this right now because it's completely pliable and nice and soft. Bounces back. So we're gonna leave it. I will do this again in the morning when I get up. What we'll do in the morning is split it in 2 and shape it. I use Banneton baskets, but I'll show you how to do it in a bowl as well. And sorry, sourdough all over me. And then we'll bake it and we'll go through the whole steps. Okay, good night.